All right, folks, I think we're ready. Today is July 16th, so this is my second broadcast of the day. This is one of the days I finally got done with working on the rental properties, and so now I'm back in the booth. I'm back at the trade desk, and programming all day, that kind of thing. So had a little bit of break in the afternoon. We just got done eating dinner, so I just wanted to do a quick little video on the timer. I've been working with this all day. So the timer. I learned one thing new, and so I just want to go ahead and add that to the database of instructionals for YouTube. So this is what we did earlier today. We made a blinking box. Okay, and so when I made the blinking box, and then you see when I'm moving the cursor around here, you see the blinking box acting funny. The blinking box acting funny. I sent that up to the chain to the TradeStation forum to the developers, and they said that yeah, they've been seeing that there's a bug that causes that to happen. So not sure if we're going to see anything different with that happen anytime soon, if there's going to be updates or fixes. He said that doesn't have anything to do with the actual timer going off itself, which, I mean, we could just do some we can make a script to show that, but it's not necessary. But yeah, I thought it was interesting to make a box flash, right? So one of the things that I had, one of the scripts that I have, let me pull it up here. All right, so for the Discord, I have these Discord alerts, and like I said, these things don't always work, but sometimes they do. So this is the high probability long here. It actually, it would have fired off at the end of this bar, which this is a bullish bar, so it would have fired off here. And yes, this is a bit high on the spectrum. However, this high probability long is really based on this box here. And so even though the chart moved up and moved out, tapped back into this box, tapped into this range, it moved up, had a nice move up. It did come back, it kind of sold back off. This bottom here, the low here, actually never got below the low of this box. So technically this is still valid. But again, this area tapped back into this box and then it moved up again nicely. So, and I said all that to say that maybe you want that, because I have this box show up when this, I don't know at what point this box shows up. Probably, I don't know what point this box shows up. But at the point that it shows up, let's see, I might be able to show it. At the point that it shows up, it's fine if it stays green, but I believe maybe like you might want this thing to start flashing if you start touching back into the price level, or if some other criteria meets, you might want this box to start flashing. I don't know, whatever you want to do with coding, and that's what I love about it is, kind of sky's the limit, really. So let me see here. Let me go to Window, Messages, and I'm going to go to Message Center, and under Message Center, we go back to earlier in the day when that happened, around 9:30, 10 o'clock, something like that. 10 o'clock, 10 something. High probability long, so it happened right here. So the high probability long fired off, but I thought that the consolidated box shows up a little sooner, that it sends an alert to. I don't think it sends an alert, because that showed up right here, so sometime after 10:30. So 10:30, wicket bottom, scalp short, high probability long, yeah. I thought I got an alert for it though. I thought I got an alert for it. Maybe it just didn't come to the message center. news bar clock. Well, I don't see it. If I got it, I don't see it. All right. That isn't what we came here to do, so let's go ahead and get into what we came here to do, and we will get out of here. All right. So, indicator. This will be timer delete. Just means I need to delete this one and get done with it. Tick counter, research. Let's go to title workspace. Timer test. Tick speed, random scripts. Okay, so we'll go here. Okay, so this is about using a timer. Using a timer is not very difficult. I never used it much in the past, but like I said, in the last week or so, I've been using them a little bit more as I'm getting down like to, you know, the ticks, and I'm looking to see how much time is in between price movements and that kind of thing. I am interested to see what happens on a millisecond scale. Okay. So, to make this, we're going to, using EL system, then we're going to go right into using a timer TM null, and then once begin end, what we're going to do once is TM equals new timer, and then we need to create the new timer, and then we need to set the timer interval. So, like I said, one of the things that we're going to do with the timer here is kind of determine the limitations. Okay, so let's do this. TM.interval is equal to 1000, which is 1000 milliseconds, or that's 1 second. TM interval, and then we'll do TM.auto reset. We'll make that equal to true, and we'll do TM.start. Okay, verify that. All right, no issues there. We're gonna come over here, add timer delete to the chart. Okay. All right, we can scale that to the underlying data. Okay, so I'm just trying to think, is there anything interesting that we want to do with the timer right now? I mean, just to kind of show you the function of it. There's just not enough liquidity in the chart right now to ask for a condition to be met, or to ask for, you know, certain conditions to happen immediately. So that's the problem we're going to have there. Hang on, I'll be right back. Oh, I've been talking on mute. God almighty. All right, well, we got it off mute. Okay, not sure what I said doing all that, but yeah. All right, so what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the inside ass to cross over the high. So let's see what the I think at this point we do need to turn on inch bar persist. Looking right at it. Jesus. Okay, so what I was saying while you couldn't hear me is that the high, I believe, and I need to do something to confirm this, but I believe initially it's my understanding that the high is wherever this is. So while this bar is being created, this hasn't moved, so this is the high, but it's also the low, and it's also the open, and it's also the close. But that doesn't really make sense, I guess, now that I'm saying it out loud. So the high, the current high, would have to have been the most recent high, which would be this. So here I asked what the high was, which should be recorded as this previous high. And then I said if the inside ask, the bid, the ask and the bid, if the inside ask crosses over this high, then we want to start the timer. So once it crosses over, then we should count about 5 seconds and see if that was, if we get an elapse there. Lord have mercy. Oh goodness! Oh, it's an interesting house around here. It is an interesting house. All right, but so anyway, it looked like the inside ass did cross over this previous high, and we did not get the timer to start. So so maybe the inside ass is not printing what we thought it was. So let's print inside ass. Let's see, are we going to get anything to print like that? Whoa. Well, let's do if last bar. Well, I mean, but technically it should print the same thing anyway because the last bar on chart. Inside ass is not something that it has historical data, as I understand. All right, so we cleared that, and then inside ass 571350, 571350, which is right here. Okay, so that's the ass. 571350. And what is the bid then? Uh, 25. Okay, spread of 25. A spread of 0.25 or 1 tick. So yeah, again, so I'm saying if the inside ask crosses over the high, then we're gonna print that. So let's print the inside ask, but then let's also then print the high. Okay, so inside ask is 1350 and the high is 1350. Okay, 1350, 1350. Okay, now that it dropped down, the high is 1370. No, the inside ask is 1375 and the high is 1350. So the inside ask actually went up and the high stayed at 1350. But I mean, that's okay, because when we talk about the inside ask and the inside bid, we're actually talking about like what's happening with the market with the level 1. We're not talking about, you know, where the last sale, where the last transactions happen. We're talking about where the you know, what's happening with where the market is headed, if you will. So I don't expect for them to be equal all the time, but that's why I said I would expect for this to work just fine. If last bar on chart and inside ask crosses over the high, then start. Well, it's gonna have to be high of a bar go. Yeah, I just need more liquidity in the market so I can work through some of these issues. So I'm just looking at this now. It's saying that everything, because the price hasn't moved yet, it's saying everything is at 57.1275, open, high, low, close. So as this moves, I'm curious to see if this moves with it. See if these values update with it. Come on. You know what? I'm gonna move to I think if I move to NQ probably moves a little bit more than this. Wow. True molasses. True molasses. Alright, there we go. All right, so it opened 13 low, highs 1325, lows 1300. All right, but it's not updating now. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll work. I think that'll work. I think we can get the adjustments in the open, high, low, close while we're in the middle of the bar. We just need to use inside inch bar persist. So let's turn this off. Not sure what happened to us getting the timer starting. Ended. Print 5 seconds for new high. Team stop. Okay, if last bar on chart and inside ass crosses over. So we honestly aren't getting any luck with the inside ass crossing over the high. So what we need to do is use if the high crosses over the high of a bar, go. Alright, so I just hit verify. Oh, let's do this. So to find out when this actually happens, when these conditions met, instead of just starting the timer, let's do start, and we're going to print start timer. End. Okay. All right, so now we got a lower low. We have a lower high. Are we going to cross over that previous high? That's what we're looking for. Come on. Come on. Come on, do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Oh, so it did at least come up and made an equal high. Now we have another equal, so we have that prior high, which was equal to the high before it. So now we need to look for a higher high. Higher high. Got a feeling this thing is going to slowly drip down. I'll tell you what, instead of making it on 1 minute bars, let's make it on like a 5 second bar. That'll help the situation here. Okay, so now we just need to get higher than this mark. Okay, we went lower. All right, now we're at equal. It's about to do it. Now we have an equal high. Technically, hadn't moved. Now that just crossed and that's a new high. So that high is higher than the high before it. But nothing fired off. There's something with crosses, right? Because I know that like when you have lines that cross, lines definitely cross, right? you know, whether or not this crossed over this, it, you know what, the high cross over the high before it. I don't think the high can cross over the high before it, because the high goes from here to here, here to here, or here, here to here. It's not. It's going from here to here. The high isn't crossing over top of the high before it. It's, I mean, it's connecting. It's not crossing over it. So instead of saying crossing, we need to say is greater than. Oh man, wordplay. Oh my God. The high is greater than the high before it. All right, you see there, start timer already started. All right, and so 5 seconds elapsed. All right, so let's rerun that. All right, before we print, we're going to do a clear print log. Now it's wanting to do it every single time. There's last bar on chart, and the high is greater than the high before it. I feel like it's just starting over every single time now. Let's make this 10 seconds. It's still saying that this high is greater than the high before, which, yeah, that's true. Okay. This high is not greater than the high before it. It's the same as the one before it. Alright, so just re-verify it. Okay, now you see there when we got a new high, it says start timer, and then that should be 5 seconds from when start timer started. Something's fishy here, because this high is not greater than the high before it. But it's equal to it. You know what? Once you're going to clear the print log, and then you're going to begin. That's why clear print log wasn't clearing on every iteration. Lower high. So now I think we got it right. We haven't even got to the fun part yet. Lower highs, lower highs. Equal highs, equal highs. Equal highs, lows, open and close, all the same thing. OHLC. Now we have a lower high. Excuse me. An equal high, lower low. Which brings us that much closer to having a higher high. No. All right, come on. There we go. All right, look how many times that happened. Why is it going so many times now? I feel like it's doing it for every tick at this point. But you see, we got a new start timer there, and then 5 seconds from timer being started, we got 5 seconds from new high. And we got that again. We got a new high, you know, a high higher than the high before it. So we got a new timer being started 5 seconds from timer. But I don't want it to. I do have it on inch bar persist, so it will perform. You know, it'll. I guess it will give us a reading on every tick, as long as that tick is higher than the high before it. Yeah. So we need to turn inch bar persist off. All right, we can turn off of that, but I want to do something else though. So we can let's turn it off. And then hopefully we can get right to what else we wanted to do. Alright, so when we restarted the timer, the high is higher than the bar before it, so it immediately went ahead and started firing off. But it's very curious though, because like I said, I've turned off the inch bar persist now, and these bars are still showing that the high is greater than the high before it. And that's not true. If anything, it's equal. So again, I'm seeing some more bugs in TradeStation. What's going on here? Okay, now that makes sense because we got a high higher than the bar before it, so we started a new timer. But 571175. Which was here. Okay, and another one. Yep, so that makes sense. Now once this one finishes, yep, we got a new start timer. New high 5712, start timer. Okay. Alright, so it's working now. But throughout this area in here, I don't know, it just seemed like it was acting a little bit weird. Alright, let me do the last little thing with you, like I said, which is the most interesting part, and then we will get out of here. Okay, so what do I want to do? I want to we're just gonna make a script that shows that the timer only works. The timer is only effective above like 100 milliseconds. So we're going to start with 200 milliseconds. So we're going to start with 200 milliseconds. Auto reset equal to true, elapse, end it. Okay, so once this elapse, we're going to go to end it, and then once we get to end it, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to value 1 or last elapse equals TM. Oh, we gotta go through the whole thing. You know what? I don't even know if I feel like I want to do that right now. Already 45 minutes into it. Okay. Alright. Let's do it. Stopwatch. SW. No. When we get here, when we begin, we're going to go ahead and have a new stopwatch. And then we have to start the stopwatch, which is sw.start. Okay. And then sw.start stop is running. Okay, that's fine. And then up here, we're going to have the elapsed time. So stopwatch dot elapsed milliseconds is going to be equal to that last elapse. And then we're going to print, we're going to say timer ended of X milliseconds. Time difference of diff. Something just disappeared there. Something just disappeared. I don't know what it was. Of time difference of diff milliseconds. Okay, so we need to put a few things in here. The difference, which is going to be the difference between the current timer and the timer before it, and then last elapse is going to be the time of the stopwatch from last run. And then we need to do current elapse, which is stopwatch current run, and then the difference is equal to current elapsed minus last elapsed. Okay, current elapse minus last elapse. Okay, so last elapse is going to be stopwatch.millis. Last elapse is going to be last elapse will be what we brought into the timer from the previous iteration. So once we get done printing, once we come into this whole thing, we're going to take elapsed milliseconds and save it as last elapse. So that will be available when we come back around. And then last elapse gets restated with the stopwatch elapsed milliseconds. Very good. All right, so I think we got a new stopwatch, new timer, start stopwatch. We don't need to stop the stopwatch, but the timer, the interval is going to be 200. So we're going to do an interval of TM interval equals 200. So that's going to be run on the first time. We don't need to. This was wrong. This needs to be under once. This needs to be here. That's why the print log wasn't clearing. All right, so we're gonna start the stopwatch, and then we're gonna start the timer. Interval set for the timer of 200. Auto reset is true, and then elapse. We do need to start the timer. Okay, and then when the timer's elapsed, we'll go to ended, which is this, and then it has that as the event handler, the arguments. Then we're going to begin. We're going to go to current elapse, and then that will determine our difference of the stopwatch. Print timer ended of X milliseconds. Now the milliseconds is going to be the interval, so we need to change the interval. So X is going to be equal to the interval. So we need that X of 0, and X technically is 200. So let's just go ahead and make X once X equals 200, and then timer interval is going to be equal to X, and then we're going to come down. And then once this runs, it's only going to run one time. So you got once here. Once this runs, then we need to change X up here. So X here will be 200, and that's fine. But then once all this runs, now we got to go and we got to say X equals, or instead of doing plus equals, which you're taking X before it and adding 1, you're going to take X before it and subtract 1. X minus 1 equals, and then you're going to say the timer.interval is equal to that X. So then when it rerun, and then you're going to timer.start. Yes. Yeah. All right. So, like I said, it should be set on auto reset, so we shouldn't have to restart it. But I'm putting a new interval in here, so I'm not sure if it's gonna where it restarts at. But since I've got this new interval in here, I need to make sure that it doesn't start until we got that new interval in there. So let's and it may not start until it gets out of this event handler, but I don't trust it. I don't trust it. We're just gonna take auto reset out. All right, and so now that we've changed the interval to x -1. So we were on 200 milliseconds, then we moved down to 199 milliseconds, then down to 198 milliseconds, 197, so forth and so on. We're going to set that x equal to the interval, and then we're going to start that timer again. Then once that timer elapses, it's going to come back into here, and it's going to keep going around and around and around until we get down to 0. Now when we get down to 0, we really don't want to do any of this anymore. So we got to say begin if x is greater than or equal to 0. So if the interval of the timer is greater than 0, then we want to run the then we want to print the statement. We want to print what happens after the timer gets down to 0. All right, so let's verify that. Let's see, print if x is 0, then print. Okay, x, we have declared x. Oh, this is going to be a number, so we got to do num to string, and then x, and then 2 decimal places. Same thing with this diff. It's going to be a num to string, and then it's going to be 2 decimal places, and plus, no errors. There we go. Okay. It's ripping and running. The stopwatch is obviously working, right? 3596, 3796, 3996. Difference of 200 milliseconds. But you see the interval is staying 200. It's staying 200. We need for it to go from 200 down to 199. So it's not changing. The X is not changing. So, and I don't know if it has to do with us trying to do an auto restart or what, but interval x, timer start, elapse, ended. Okay, so like I said here, we did change the TM interval to x, and x was 200 here at the ones, but we subtracted 1. So let's try this. X is equal to, you know what? I remember what it was. I really thought I had a decent grasp on intrabar persist at one time, and then I got somewhere along the way where I just started adding intrabar persist to everything. So I've really got to go back and look at intrabar persist and make sure that I have a firm understanding on it. So we're going to turn on intrabar persist right there. Okay, and now X needs to exist intrabar persist. Now you see that we put x as being equal as existing on the intrabar persist basis. That's allowing for the calculations to happen within the same bar instead of only calculating at the end of every bar. Weird, right? All right, look at this. It's going down, it's going down, it's going down, it's going down, and it's probably going below. Yeah. All right, so now if you look at this, so pretty much all we're doing is we're starting off with a timer of 200 milliseconds. And so when we start the stopwatch, the timer ends at 200 milliseconds and the stopwatch has run for 200 milliseconds. Now when we go to 199, now it's, roughly 199, which adds to 200. So it makes it 200. It's going to be, in some change. Right, so actually I think it should probably end up coming up $3.99. It shouldn't be, here I see the difference is really starting to take into effect here. But we want the difference there. We don't want the total sum. Let's see. Time difference, diff, current elapse. It's gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be the same thing, guys. we're trying to do these calculations here with current lapse and last elapse, but we're trying to do it within the bar. So since we're trying to do it within the bar, we need to turn on interbar persist for these and for diff. And we don't need to do it for stopwatch, as I have come to find out. So now we hit that, and now you see the difference, right? So 209. So you know, it should technically, it should be, you know, it was a timer for 200 milliseconds. It should have taken 200 milliseconds. It took 209. Timer for 109.99 milliseconds. The difference between this one and this one was 199 milliseconds, which should be 191, 191, 190, 190. So everything looks good until you start getting down to 122 milliseconds, get 124. 118, get 119. 113, 114. 102, 102. 98, 100. 97, 100. 93, 100. 87, 100. 82, 100. So again, when you're trying to use a timer below 100 milliseconds, the lowest that timer will go, is 100 seconds, 100 milliseconds. Even all the way down, you say, oh, well, let's set a timer of, you know, 37 milliseconds. No, the best the timer can do is a resolution as small as a tenth of a second, or 100 milliseconds. And here is your proof. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it for me. I think I started at 45 and finished it at 1 hour. So it took me 15 minutes to put this together. But yeah. So hope you got something out of this. Again, earlier in the day we did the blinking bars. So we did the blinking, the flashing bars, which is kind of cool. Like I said, that's kind of cool. But black. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool, but again, I mean, being able to program and do all this stuff is very cool, but are you able to implement it to the market, to making some having it pull some valuable data from the market? And I have to say, I feel like I'm getting a lot closer to being able to get that valuable data from the market. So right now I'm still just kind of working and learning, and I think everybody is, but yeah, I hope everybody gets it. I hope you all get it before I do, because when I get it, I'm gonna keep it a secret. All right, but one of the things I did over the last day or so here is I made this box, and I actually put this in the Discord. So this box is not a secret; it's not a surprise. I think we actually did this on the on YouTube as well. Make a clock display box, but also with the display box, I updated it just over the last day or so that when I have my news events come out, you see the news here. When my news events come out, this box will turn red when you're within, I'm not sure if I did it in an hour or 30 minutes, but when I'm within a certain margin of the news event, this box will turn red. That just kind of lets me know, hey, get out of the zone, because you got a news event about to come up, so don't even think about it. And then for 30 minutes proceeding a news event, this box will be yellow. And so that just lets me know if I'm coming back to the chart and you know, maybe didn't pay attention to the larger time frame, but I see what looks to be a good setup here. This yellow box just reminds us, like, hey, you're not too far on the other side of a news event, so just be cautious that you know, your setup may or may not work as well. So, and then after that point, or doing any other time, this box will be black. All right, guys. Hope you got something out of this. The programming fingers are on fire. All right, I'm Eric. I'm out. Be sure to like, subscribe, and yeah, join me on Discord. You know, ask me to make scripts. Ask me to come up with stuff, because I'm kind of running out of stuff, and so I'm coming up with all this cool stuff that I'm doing on my own. But it's coming back to doing some of the basic stuff as well that that actually also strengthens my my programming skills. So yeah, I appreciate any requests that you guys may have. I'm Eric. I'm out. Peace.